and welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast, a podcast designed for your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. I'm Becca, and today we've got a special guest coming on to the podcast. We've got another interview to feature here today, and this week it is Christian from the Cars with Character Tours app. It's an app that I've mentioned a couple of times on the podcast already, so I thought I would get Christian on to come and give us a little chat about what the app's all about, how his own love of classic cars and classic car collection inspired the app, and how it might be able to add to your own personal enjoyment of going out and having some fun with your classic cars. So without further ado, let's get Christian in the car and having a little chat with him. Okay, so we're joined now by Christian from Cars with Character. Christian, tell us a little bit about your classic car history. What was your first?
Well, I was going to say, how far back should we go? Because there's a lot of childhood kind of becoming passionate about rust when I was a little kid, really.
Yeah. So you're one of the people that had parents that had interesting cars, or just cars that you remember fondly?
Well, that's a good question. So my dad was always into cars, but I will say it tended to be shiny new ones, really. But he did have the car knowledge. So when I was little, I could name all the kind of second-hand cars down the street, and Escort Mark 1, Mark 2, whatever it was. And I guess at that stage, Dad could see me wavering towards the older ones even then. So while he would be drooling over, I can remember, it's a classic now, of course, a wonderful car, and I'd like to own one.
Yeah.
But he once bought himself a second-hand Renault 5 Gordini, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was sat in the jeans Beetle next to it in the showroom, getting more excited about that, which was kind of a bit of a disappointment to him at the time. But so in terms of history, really, the Beetle played a big role in growing up. There were the Herbie films. Yeah. There was my great aunt and uncle, who lived in Huddersfield, had a 1969 VW 1200 Beetle, a white one, and that was called Phyllis. Yeah. And that was just that was my dream car for many years until they got rid.
You own a white Beetle now?
I do now, yes, and that is no coincidence. It's not the same car. But I mean, my first car was also a Beetle. Yeah. But there was a tragic story that Phyllis didn't last long enough. They swapped Phyllis before I was old enough to drive. Oh. And so, although we had first refusal, I can remember the night my dad said, "Well, we don't just want her rotting on the driveway, do we?" So, that is the tricky decision when you get sentimentally attached to something, isn't it? But that was up there in my trauma childhood. So but I was only about 12 or 13 or something when that happened. So the first thing I did then was save up and scurry off and buy myself a Beetle.
So that was your first car?
It was a 1968 6-volt 1200.
Same year as Peggy.
Yeah, indeed. And it had an interesting history that I didn't realise at the time I bought it. So it came from Gibraltar originally. Okay. A school teacher in Gibraltar owned it, and then somehow it made its way back to the UK. Whether she brought it with her or I don't know.
So it was a UK car originally that had gone to Gibraltar, or?
I don't think so. I think it was bought new from Rock Motors Gibraltar, if I remember rightly, or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But it had, which was what led to an oddity, was it had a J plate on it, so a 71 plate.
Oh, okay, so
because it was imported.
A few years over there and then come over here in its first registration.
So 3 years, I guess. It was quite new when it came back. So don't know. All right-hand drive.
Yeah.
So, but that was my first, and I still got that because of knowing someone who owned it. I got that a year earlier than I could actually have a driving licence. So my long-suffering dad did take me on the local disused airfield, and I learnt to drive in Flo the Beetle, as it was then.
Amazing.
Yeah, that was great.
And great memories of that, I suppose.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Yeah. I mean, a tragic end in that she wasn't the best example in the first place. Yeah. And then when the inevitable happened, and I was called down to the village garage, and almost with a sympathetic kind of, "I'm sorry, I've got some bad news." It was like sitting in a vet. It was almost like putting a dog down.
I remember the first time we took Peggy not long after we bought her for like a safety check at the local garage. Yes. So rather than like immediately putting him in for an MOT, he did like a safety check, same as MOT,
that's a good
but
idea.
no certificate
That's
kind
a
of at
good
the
idea.
end, just so that we knew what we were having to do before we could get an MOT. and it was in with a guy that my dad knew, and he rang my dad and says, "Are you free?
Are you sitting down?
Do you want to come down?" And so we were both free, and we went down and we had a look, and it was just a case, the car was up on the ramp and he thought it'd be useful for us to see.
Sure.
But he didn't say that on the phone.
Oh, so much worse.
So it was a 10-minute drive, and I was like, oh no, I've just spent all this money on an absolutely awful car that's never going to be okay. And very doom and gloom sometimes, these garage trips.
Absolutely. Well, this guy, he was sympathetic, but there's only so sympathetic you should be. And so, it was on the ramp and he was poking holes in it. But of course, you're an enthusiast, you'll keep it. And so at that point, that's what led me to want to learn to MIG weld and all of that stuff. But sadly, through circumstances, I never did finish that car. Oh. So it went on to someone else. I dread to think what happened to it. But
scary to put the number plate into the MOT checker and stuff like that.
I think I know the answer. Yeah. I think I know the answer.
So what happened after that?
Well, there was a drought, so I was without car. But it was at that point I was a first-year student as well.
Yeah, and so having a car at uni isn't always ideal, is it?
Yeah, and then something cropped up that now it would be a classic. Back then it wasn't. So we're talking early 90s. A Y-registered Mark I Fiesta came up. Okay. Which at that point, to me, that was the modern alternative to the Beetle. I wasn't that keen, but it was essentially virtually free. Yeah. If we could get it going again, so we took it to that same village garage, and he gave it the kiss of life, and I drove that for the rest of my student days, basically. But so I don't know if you. I mean, looking back now, it's a classic period. Yeah. But then it wasn't considered. It was a bit of a banger.
How did you find the comparison? Like, going from a car that you'd learnt to drive in that was probably like 20, 30 years old.
Yeah, it was very different.
Yeah, it's a big jump sometimes, isn't it?
It was, and it was still. I mean, it was basic, but it was a lot. Yeah, it was just into the 80s rather than the 60s, I suppose. Yeah. It was very different. Had a heater that worked and things like that. But then, so that sort of tied me over. And then I wanted to carry on at university doing postgraduate study, and finally got a sponsorship deal, which meant I got a little wedge of money at the beginning of term, and I negotiated selling the Fiesta for £175 to a friend of mine. And went out and bought a Wolseley 1500, which was a very sensible thing to do.
Absolutely.
Remember my dad's face again at that point?
Yeah.
But that was gorgeous, and I still have it. It's less gorgeous now, but still not bad. So that was a 63 Wolseley. And what for me was... the car was nice, but I had been looking at VW camper vans and things like that, and thinking... They're so expensive, and some of the examples...
It's not as bad as the Ford tax, but there is a bit of a VW tax,
there really is.
The cool tax
there
kind
really
of thing.
is, yeah, and you were comparable condition, there was just no competition. So I went to look at this Wolseley, having seen it advertised, and it was in York, that's where the area I'm from, and it had lived there all its life, so it has an old York number plate on it from pre-registration. It had, at that point, so I'm the third owner, and the first guy had it 36 years. Yeah. The second guy who sold it to me had it about 12 or 18 months. So I think he did a little bit of sympathetic sort of tidying up on it. Yeah. But it was so straight and honest, and a big folder full of handwritten. Did the oil change, bought a bit of antifreeze. So I bought that, and then that was my daily driver, like you are with Peggy, really. Well, I suppose through university, until I had to think about doing other things. Well, it was my daily driver, and then I kind of took up with a bunch of middle-aged people who had an addiction worse than I did for classic cars at that time. So I joined the Wolseley Club. Yeah. And that was really welcoming and social. I was the youngest by about 30 years at that point. But I ended up, I edited the North East Group newsletter and things like this. Right? It was good fun, and, made friendships across, I guess, across an age barrier that would never have happened otherwise.
Car clubs are really good for that. Yeah. Like, you do find yourself interacting with like these intergenerational friendships, and them helping each other out and stuff. Like, I know young members that have learnt stuff from older members, but then those older members can't physically do some of those things now. Yeah. So the young member will go, actually, well, I'll roll under your car and
end up helping each other out. That's lovely.
It's really lovely.
Yeah, no, that's good. But then there were these miscreants, relatively speaking, who met at a pub every Thursday night in York, just near the university, which was a bit too tempting. So I turned up there, and that was the York Neckpwa group, or the North East Club for Pre-War Austins. But at the time, they called it the Nearly Everywhere Club for Pretty Well Anything, because they all owned a vast array of things. And normally, I mean, I can remember coming home after that thinking, it's not just me that's got this problem of car addiction. I mean, they had one person had 10 cars and others had 2 or 3 or 4, and that was normal in their group. Yeah. So that sort of opened the floodgates a little bit for me. Yeah, you realised, I don't have to just have this one. Well, I could have 1 or 2 on the go. But that's bad. I mean, actually, where I am now, I'm realising I need to go back the other way, because. So how many have you got now? I don't want to even say or count. But the trouble is how many are working, is it? And 1 is the answer. And it's like, well, eyes bigger than belly kind of problem. But to pick up the story, what I ended up then with, sort of wanting to try out a pre-war car for the first time, which. I ended up, there's another podcast in it, but I ended up getting a restoration project 1948 Rover. But, I mean, that was in boxes and still is, and we can talk about that another time maybe. But to tide me over then, there was a 1939 Rover 10 that I rather fancied, that lost storage. Yeah. So, and it was mates rates. It was just within the club. Yeah. I paid an amount that was way under market value, but on swearing I would never, sell it on without selling it back. And then I drove that as well, which was wonderful. I mean, that was really good fun. I can remember some adventures, like we drove it to Derbyshire once, a mate and I, for the Rover Sports Register meet. And it took, we went the back roads for obvious reasons, but it took us most of the day to get there. Whereas my girlfriend at the time, she just drove down the motorway in an hour and a half or whatever at the end of her working day.
Yeah, she met you there after you'd had a lovely back roads trip.
Yeah, we'd had to adjust the brakes halfway and all sorts of things. But no, it was great.
And I suppose those sorts of adventures is kind of what's inspired Cars with Character.
It is, yeah, the road trip kind of thing. Because I did a lot of the club thing and a lot of the show meets, and it was good at the time. But I think I started to enjoy the road run aspect of a car show more. But then I suppose, you fast forward, there's various things that happen, career and family and stuff. And actually you realise, well, now I'm married with a couple of kids. It's actually quite good to do a nice day out, but have the old car fix within that. Yeah. So we're not just travelling to a car show where maybe some of the family won't be quite as delighted as I would be for the day. We're touring around and seeing things like, whatever they are, falconry centres or museums or just pretty places. And getting the old car kind of experience at the same time. So
you get your fix, but also everyone else is enjoying themselves as well.
Yeah, so that led to the app, and then sort of discovering the tech also I led to the idea of, well, wouldn't it be great pairing this with classic car hire? So that was sort of the dream. I don't know whether I dare do that. Yeah. So, but the idea was, well, and then we could give the car a bit of a tour guide role in the tour. So the app can let you trigger GPS position related voices and voiceovers and things. So then I got into the whole, well, the car could narrate your tour and guide you, be it a hire car that you got with this package or indeed your own car if you just downloaded the app. So that's what inspired it, really.
Absolutely. So tell us exactly what you can get on the app.
Sure. Well, the first part of the app is still very, and I don't mean this in a bad way, being one of the audience myself, is very geek driven. So there's the Enthusiast Atlas. Yeah.
And so the app is free to download.
It is completely free.
The Enthusiast Atlas is
completely free to use. Which is crazy. Obviously, it has Vanity Project written all over it. But yeah, no, absolutely. So you can download the Enthusiast Atlas, and it's basically got lots of places. Currently just in the UK. but that you can go and either they're old car destinations, like museums and things, or places where, like the cafes and things that are popping up, where you're more likely to bump into people with old cars or interesting vehicles. And basically, you've got a map, you've got you know, a list of those. You click on a page for one, you can look at the website and suss it out if you want to go, and then just press take me there sat nav kind of button.
Yeah, it's really useful in terms of, like, if you're like me, you use your car to go away on holiday or whatever, and you don't want everything to be old car, but you might go, actually, we've got a spare afternoon here where we're on holiday, we don't know the area, what could we do near us, what's it like, is it open, all of that stuff's kind of contained within the app, and then you can literally click and go through to it. Or if you are looking for, like I use it loads for, okay, I've got to plan a women drivers social club meet.
Right, yeah.
I know that I've got this meet that's over here in January, and I've got this meet that's over here. I want to try and move the group around the country a bit. What is over in this part of the country that we barely ever go to? What can I zoom
Could be
in
a good
and
hub to get to.
Find out what's there and what's nearby, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, another way you could use it is, I mean, I shouldn't say it, you won't have to pay for anything, but you could just go, there are quite a few clusters of places that you could do quite happily on a Saturday tour around one or two kind of car meet type classic.
Yeah, they do kind of often clump together these sorts of places, don't they? There's like little hubs, especially like the Cotswolds and things like
definitely.
that,
It's a little
where you
bit
find lots of stuff going on. Yeah. And then what else is on the app?
So the other sides to it are, well, first of all, there's a road trip part, so also on the enthusiast tab, which basically you pay to have. So we've got a range of, potentially there's a few quick trips on there which are under an hour's drive and things, and you can pootle about, or you can do potentially up to a day out type of thing.
Or I think some of them,
or
like
longer.
you could put in a hotel stop.
Depends
like
how many stops you want to do along the way.
Yeah, and how long you want to spend at each of those stops. There is a lot of flexibility in a lot of them, isn't there?
I mean, it's you download it and then you can do what you want with it. You can do the whole drive in a day if you wanted, like you say. You could do a weekend with half and half, or you could say, I'm going to drive this little bit today, I'm going to go home next weekend, I'm going to do the other part. You know, they're completely flexible, so once you've bought it, it's yours.
So you can use it as many times as you want.
Absolutely.
And things like that, and it gives quite useful advice about like where to park at these places, how much entry and things is.
Absolutely, yes.
And that's kind of the way that we met, is that you needed some more of those drives doing, so I went out and planned some.
I did a very good job.
Thank you very much. And so we are actually at one of the stops on one of the first ones I did, which was the kind of Rutland route, although it goes into kind of, I think it covers 3 counties technically, because it does Northamptonshire and a little bit of Lincolnshire. But we're at Rutland Water, which is one of the stops on that. And so this is, like you say, it's not necessarily a car stop. Some of the stops on the route are car stops. There's a car meet at the beginning of it.
That's right. It's nice. I like the idea of how with that one, when you designed it, you blended it to have the car breakfast meet or whatever it be, and then go off and do the kind of tourism type stuff as well.
In your case, you could come here, kids have a run round, have a bit of a morning afterwards, and then go on and do the rest of the drive before heading home, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's right. So there's those as well. Other things in the app include the cars with the characters tab, which is the narrated drive part. So that the one I'll have to get you to drive it with Peggy at some point, because it's a Morris Minor type voice. That's what I arranged it to be. There's a tour around the Cotswolds, which is narrated, so you do a nice tour around some lovely places, but occasionally the car will perk up and tell you some facts about the Cotswolds or whatever, you know. And it's all tongue in cheek.
The voice activation thing happened it happens in the road trips as well. So
it does. When you arrive, it happens.
Yeah,
that's right.
There's an element of you could do a lot of this on your own if you were like, I just want to get out in my car and have a nice day out. I think we're both of the opinion it's more fun if you've got a passenger along with the ride for you who can do it. But a lot of it is kind of just geographically will ping up and start playing, so
that's
that
right.
you know, okay, I'm in the correct area. I know, it's telling me I need to go park over here, and then once I'm parked up, I can then go through the app and scroll through
and have a read at what you want. Yeah, because sometimes you'll end up, especially if it's a nice little town, you'll end up in a place, well, here are some highlights from the town that you could walk around and at that point or whatever. Yeah. So there is that, and then there's the kind of tour guide part. So the one that's residing in there is where I started, because it's not that far from where I live, was the Cotswolds. So I did a Cotswold tourist guide, really, with the view that although I'm classic car focused, actually it kind of doesn't matter what you're driving, really. Just going to an area like that and then having a lot of the attractions in one place you can just drive to, or plan a route around.
And that's the case for kind of all of it, really,
yeah,
isn't it? It's if I'm going on holiday to this area, or I'm thinking about like the North Wales route, you could fill a long weekend with that if you stopped off and you spent time at every single stop that you put on there. And so the whole trip is almost planned for you. Like $4.99.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, hopefully it's like for the price of a cup of coffee, you can have a day or a weekend away, really. Without stress, in theory, because we test the routes, we drive them, we maintain them, and literally you press and go, really.
So which routes are you most looking forward? Because you've not done all of them.
I haven't done all of them.
So which ones do you think interest you the most?
Well, I would quite like to do the Bomber County, because partly because I've got proper job. I do have a bit of a history in aviation, and we've got the viewing area for one of the RAF bases in that one.
The RAF Coningsby. My partner, he's got really into Sky Cards. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's an app that like you can track flights and stuff like that.
Yes, I have another one.
And then you catch the aeroplanes on the app, like Top Trump cards.
Oh, like collections.
So it's like Pokemon Go crossed with Flight Radar.
Right.
And it's really interesting because RAF Coningsby comes into our radar, so we see all of the stuff that flies out and comes in, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many cool things there. So you could easily spend, like, it was put down on that route as almost it's quite interesting.
Yes, as you're
passing through kind of thing. But you could easily, if you hit the right time pass in there, you could spend a good hour seeing all sorts of really cool stuff go in and out of there.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it depends on your timing. Absolutely. So that would be on the list. I think I really like the idea though of the tucked away cinema.
The Kinner in the Woods.
That was that would be a cool place to go. And again, that's not just me being a bit geeky. That would be a cool place to go with other people. Really.
That's what's interesting. So we're recording this before Christmas.
Yes.
But I will have actually been there. In January. Because we've got the Women Drivers Social Club Christmas.
Are you meeting there? That's a good place.
Yeah, our winter warmer we're doing there. We're going to go watch Cars. By Pixar in one of their private screenings.
That's really cool.
Because it's such a cool place. And I'd completely forgotten kind of that it existed until I was like, this would be a really cool area to do a tour. So doing it with you guys has reminded me of it.
I mean, it's great. I mean, that's the type of thing that, classic car or no classic car, would be quite cool to discover on a Sunday or a Saturday, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
So stuff like that's really good.
And again, it's that nice mix of stuff that you're going to enjoy and the kids are going to enjoy.
And photo opportunity, I guess, because it's a nice old building in that and quite a few other places are like you're very good at setting Peggy up in beautiful scenes and taking pictures.
Shamelessly abandoning her in the middle of the road.
There's often a double yellow line around, and
the engine's still running. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah, absolutely. And they are highlighted again in the app of like, oh, this is a really good place to take a photo, or like the Rutland route. There's a little diversion if you want to get that really nice photo of the viaduct.
The viaduct. That's right. We have a few little optional kind of, because we can't help ourselves. It's like, well, the main route is this, but if you just want to nip off here, you could do a photo or something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Where can people find the app?
So the app, this is the shameless publicity part. The app is on Google Play for Android, and it's on the Apple Store. As you'd expect for any app, really. But like you say, free to download. So I'm not going to take money off you for enjoying the core aspects of the app. And equally, I'd be really keen if people want to email me and say, you know what, you should include on the app as a stop that you haven't got already. Do that, because I would like it to be although for various reasons I broke my ankle this year, I have not been classic car driving until literally this month, really. But it'd be nice for it to build a little bit of a community as well as just an app, really. Yeah. So, you know, if people contribute stops and things, I'm quite happy to give you a shout out on the app, on the entry itself. Yeah. In fact, I've done that with one chap who's local to me. He spotted the Triumph motorcycle cafe at the factory. He said that's a great place to go, so I popped it in and said thanks very much. So yeah, I hope to get that kind of interaction going as well, really. Yeah, no, that it kind of become a bit of a community hub for information about cool places. Yeah. We've got lots of stuff on there already. There's 4 or 5 routes I think on there now. Yes. And obviously the Enthusiast Atlas is good to go. Yeah. Always being added to and really useful. There's little highlights and stuff that we put out on the social media side of things about what stuff you might be able to find on there. So we like to highlight things. Again, if you are either really fond of a place and you think it needs more people knowing about it, let us know and we'd love to highlight it. And also, if you're a business that you would like to... Well, I was going to say that, so we never do, it's important as well, we never do a paid kind of inclusion in the app. But, you know, if you are a business and you want to get in touch and be in the app, I'm more than happy to, you know, if we visit and think, yes, it's a brilliant place, we'll put it in. So nothing sponsored, that is an important part of it. So this coming year... ankle's going to get better. I could drive more tours in the app, more places, and I think just generally I need to get out and about a bit more than I have been doing really with the car, and maybe need to sell a car or two, but I don't know about it's really tricky, isn't it? But sometimes you have to make the decision of, well, actually if I sell this car, it gives me the funds, space, time to actually get some other cars up and going. And because you've been working, you were working a bit on your Morris Minor. I literally took the wing off the Morris Minor in a big flurry of enthusiasm and then broke my ankle straight after. So the challenge I've setting myself is to get that white 2-door on the road for spring. Yeah. And maybe do something about driving it to... I've got a point of pilgrimage in mind I'd like to take it to. So that's my big goal. So something I was going to say about the app as well, also if you're a car club or just a group of like-minded car nuts, there could be possibilities for collaborating and doing, you know, if you have a breakfast meet and you want to do a scenic route from your breakfast meet that all your friends or members can do and follow easily in the app, you know, there's ways and means of getting your tour into the app, perhaps. Because I've found that with a lot of car clubs are still trucking on using tulip maps, and I love tulip maps. They're a challenge. If you're into the challenge, they're good, aren't they? But if you're not, if you haven't had the privilege that I have of growing up using them and being told from that you sit in the back seat and you've got to give me the instructions. You were doing the thing, right? Me and my sister were in the back, trying left, right. And if it was the open top car, it was right. You're the left indicator. You're the right indicator. So stuck your arm out. So sticking our arms out as well. And so they're great fun. Great challenge. But if you're not used to them, and a lot of people aren't as used to them as they used to be. If you get off track, getting back is nigh on impossible, and then nothing adds up, and you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get the sat nav out. Maybe you need it as an emergency service, you know, get on the app if you get lost with tulip. So using the app for especially like young members groups and stuff like that, definitely worth getting in touch about. Yes, absolutely. I mean, it has crossed my mind whether I should combine it with a tulip download as well. So you could do it the easy way or the hard way, but I haven't done that yet. Yeah. Oh, scary. Flashbacks. Well, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you. And best of luck with getting the Morris Minor on. And hopefully we'll see you both at the Morris Minor 50th anniversary. That would be great. And a photo of Peggy and whatever this one's going to be called. It's not got a name yet. Well, it might be Gladys, but I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not sure. Exciting to see. Yes. Once it's all done, it will tell you. Yes. What its name is, That's right. That's right. Very good. Excellent. And go and download the app. Yes, please. Vanity project.
So I hope you really enjoyed this week's podcast. It was fantastic to get Christian in and talk a little bit more about what the app's all about, how it can be used, and hopefully a few of you have been inspired to go and download the app, have a play about with it, try out the Enthusiast Atlas at least to start with and see where you might be able to adventure to next, and then perhaps go a little bit further afield with some of those road trips that are in the app that I really enjoyed working on. That is everything for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and in the meantime, thank you ever so much for listening. Drive safely and happy motoring.